Thwip. What's going on, guys? It is Crewmaru Monday, and we are officially live. It is 7:05. I'm late as usual. You'd have to be worried if I was on time. Tonight we're going to do some Spider-Man repairs. I got in from my man, Drake. Not the musician. He might sing, I don't know. But really cool guy. Known him for a minute, and he's always quick to pay, and he's quick to think. And I love people who are thankful. So yeah, I think we're going to probably hop right into this thing. I think I'll start off with probably the more complex. I guess we can knock out the simple one. If we do the simple one real quick, and then after that, so we'll do the Marvel Legends one, and then I'll hop on and do the Mafex knee here. We're going to do that one second. I'm actually going to do a tutorial video over that one, just because I think I told somebody I would do that. So let's do it. All right. So we're going to jump right into it. So what we have here is a standard Marvel Legend. This is actually well, I guess it's not really a standard. Maybe it's standard. It doesn't have butterfly joints. It's the Teen Spidey mold that we got going on here. And he's broken his bicep. And I actually see this break quite often. I fixed this for somebody not too long ago. So I'm going to go ahead and get it all knocked out. I went ahead and found a screw that was good. It's a little big, but that's okay. Sometimes I like the screw heads to be just a little bit larger than the factory peg heads. That'll give me a chance to really pop it in there and get a good grip. Although the more I look at that, the more I'm thinking that might be a little too big. You don't want to go gigantic with it, because then you're going to run into problems. You don't want it bulging out of the side of the arm. I found a tiny little screw in here. Maybe this will work. Let's see what we got. I cannot grab it. I can't grab it with my hands. There we go. Let's see. This might be actually a little too small. You gotta find that Goldilocks screw. You know what I'm talking about? The one that's just right. This one looks a little small. You can always tell if you want to test. Grab your screw with tightly with some needle nose or pliers. And oh, this actually might be perfect. If you can't get in there without any heat, then that's a good sign. If you can get it in there with heat, that's a bad sign. That looks like that's going to work. I thought that was going to be too small. That might be the problem, that's why these break. I think the peg, actually this might be too big. And that's what's breaking these things, so who knows? Looks like that. What's up, Clayton? Thanks for showing up, brother. Hope you're enjoying that freaking crazy Dark Knight Returns Toddy Mac beefy horse. That's a big boy. It's not as big as I thought he was, though, compared to Roach, so that's pretty cool. What's up, Julian? What's up, my man Soul Brother? Oh my god, guys, if you haven't seen, just in case, imagine you've seen this, but if you haven't seen this, I have to show you the coolest freaking thing on the planet that's ever happened in this world, and that is this incredible artwork that Soul Brother did of me repairing toys. He calls it the Toycanic Supreme, so that's where we're leaving it. We're leaving it. Let call me Marvel. If you need somebody to fix toys on screen, I'm sure that would be an interesting movie. I've had so many people like, why did they do this? But no, huge thank you. Super humbled. Wow, the quality on that is just nuts. I think I'm gonna have to get a shirt of it, which is not weird at all or narcissistic to wear a shirt of yourself or vain. I love it. I'm absolutely in love with that. I'm gonna make a figure of it. It's gonna happen. You'll see it in 3 years. Warren Roar, what's up, man? I think I just said your name right. Roar. R-O-H-R. Could be Rar. Is it like a lion's roar? Warren. I know I got that one right. He said, what's up, buddy? Wanted to say thanks again, my brother, for fixing my Mezco Nosferatu's broken arm at the elbow. It's just like brand new again. You're very welcome. You're very, very welcome. Let me shoot this little thing real quick. I'm trying to like be more social on what is it, Instagram here. So I can do like a little thing where it's like, Hey guys, we're live right now on youtube.com/BillMaru. The comments are coming in and people are wanting to know what's happening and why you're not here. So show up. Get here. Get here now. That'll work. Well, I'll put some text in there. YouTube.com. Not YouTube. Oh, man. Don't want to type too quick. I don't type well whenever I type too fast. There we go. Bam. Thanks for sticking with me. Share. Share. Here it goes. Done. Bam. Done. Thanks. Thanks, guys. Thanks. No, you got it. Lion. There it is. War and Roar. I like that name. That's fun. Actually, Ori's last name is Aphelion. So the Aphelion and the Roar, if you guys got together, whew, be dangerous. All right. Let's knock out this repair real quick on this Spider-Man. I'm going to start with I believe this is a 0.9, which that's actually pretty small. Maybe we don't want to start with a 0.9. Let's go a little bigger with our drill bit. And I should have probably been a little more prepared for that. I think I got a 1.2. We'll use this later on, though, for the Mafex for sure. I think I got a 1.2 in here we can use. One left that hasn't broken on me. So we'll go ahead and drill our hole. You gotta be careful with these, too. You can't go in very far, or you will hit this. You'll see, like, see if I can't zoom in a little bit here. Dang, that's really zoomed in, isn't it? I don't have to go that far. All right, there we go. All right, so yeah, you don't want to go in too far. You can see this like red piece right here, and that's the disc where this is supposed to turn and swivel and bend, and you can see just how hard that can be, and that's why that breaks a lot of times too. But if you drilled in way too far on this thing, what would happen? And most of us know this by now, but for those who don't, if you drill in too far, you will hit that plastic bit, and if you put a screw into it, what that's going to do is lock your joint because it's the screw is going to go through, and while you will get your bicep swivel again, then you're going to lose your armpit like up and down bending motion, and we don't want that. And you can usually feel whenever you start to hit it, it will be a harder plastic that you're drilling into. So a lot of times if you're not certain where you're at, try to get it somewhere here, like move your arm somewhere in the middle of that disc. So if you do happen to drill through and when you bend it back, you won't see where that hole went through, if possible. So I'm kind of going in a little more just to give myself a little more room here, because the screw going in is much bigger than 1.2 millimeter. I'd give it at least 2 to 3 as far as the size goes. While that plastic is though warmed up, we can try to, let's see, I think I'm gonna have to go a little bit bigger for the hole. The screw I'm using doesn't have a like the sharper tip on it, so in order to do that you need to chip away some of this plastic. Obsidian, what's going on, man? It said, did you end leaving with anything from Texas Frightmare Fest? A little bit of regret. I know that. I really was excited to get there. It was so dang hot, and it was packed. The place felt really overbooked. I did get to meet up with Ori Omega there, so that's always good. And we walked around. We got to see some celebrities. So I walked away with some memories. But I didn't buy anything. I just didn't, there wasn't anything really there for me. I don't know. Like I said, it was like, it would have been cool if it would have been a little more spaced out and a little more air conditioned, but oh my God, it was hot and whatnot. So that it was still kind of cool, but hoping they change venues, because it's pretty rough. My man Samurai Chris is here. He's always here. What's going on, Chris? Emilio Lopez is here. Says, sup? What's up, Emilio? And Enrique G says, sup, Bill? What's going on, man? Thank you guys for showing up tonight. I hope everybody's doing good. I hope a lot of you are gonna be getting a 3-day weekend or at least next Monday off for Memorial Day. That'd be really cool. Can't tell if I'm gonna stream that day or not. I might. We'll see. We'll see how this weekend goes. If I can get a lot done and I'm in the mood, then we can go. But we'll see. My man Michael Mahoney, no relation, but still amazing name. Says, hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. Okay, just get that right. Obsidian got a NECA quarter scale Michael Myers. Watch out with those hips, man. I already fixed one for somebody, and I want to say when I sent it back to him, it broke. Like even after we had the hips fixed, so I actually got him another cast and sent him those as well. Though 2 times now the quarter scale figures after I've repaired them, and I'm talking about like I got cast from Corey from Casting Cave, they still broke, and so a lot of times I'll shave them down. I'll shave those pieces down, and gosh, they're still just not enough, man. It's ridiculous. It's I don't know, man. Those things are too tight. DJ Crossfire, the Choppa Kid says, how do you feel about the TMNT Power Ranger figures from Hasbro? I personally think they're pretty good figures for customs. I think those are pretty cool, man. I won't lie. They're like the best articulation we've ever gotten in Ninja Turtle, which kind of sucks that it's Power Ranger stuff. I mean, I like, if I was to choose a Power Ranger stuff, I like the Mighty Morphin. I grew up with them. I did collect all the like original ones for the Lightning collection, so those are pretty cool. But yeah, I think those figures are cool, man. I can't wait to get Shredder in. I'm still waiting on my pre-order from him to come in from Big Bad, but so far so good. And I think Tommy was like probably the best freaking foot soldier we've got as far as articulation goes, which is pretty dang funny. Once again, who's ever running the Lightning collection over there at Hasbro is doing a dang good job, man. It's a real shame that they haven't given us like some figures on those bodies. Like, man, there's a lot. I saw somebody complaining the other day about a new figure coming out from Hasbro. I want to say it was in the Marvel Legends line, and they said, oh, this was a perfect opportunity to put it on one of those the Lightning collection bodies or something like that. But I know the teams aren't the same, but still, man, you guys got to share some of the love there. You know what I mean? Clockwork Orgy, what's up, man? Been a minute. I haven't seen you in a minute. Thanks for showing up. Julian says, what would I recommend for tightening drop-down hip joints? Ugh. Oh, boy. It really depends on what figure they're on. And because that's a dangerous one to play around with super glue. I would have to take that apart completely to make sure that it was completely in my control. Because I wouldn't do that with them still attached. I think that would be a recipe for disaster. I've been trying to tighten one. So one I fixed was this guy right here. This Mafex Spider-Man, this Peter B. And he had a broken knee, so I fixed the knee, and I just wasn't happy with how loose this was. And you can see there's just a ton of super glue in here right now, and I just can't really get this thing to tight. It's probably about as tight as it's supposed to be now that I feel it. The other day I put a ton of super glue on it, but seems to be working better now. So that's really hard. But then you get all this super glue gunk, so I need to go in and paint that. So that's a problem. This is my personal one though, so I just kind of did whatever with it. But yeah, that really depends on the figure. And the plastic used. Generally it's at harder plastics, but I would try to find, like I said, a way to, if you were to take it out, because it's going to be on basically what you're going to have is a peg like so, like this, and then here, or like so, there's a peg that runs through, and then you've got this clip that swivels, right? So I would probably add just a drop of super glue and be able to completely swivel that thing to see if it's gonna I don't know, tighten it a little bit. That's a really tough one actually to tighten, but you always want to take those apart. So yeah. Billy, have you had a lot of work have you had to do a lot of work on Storm Collectibles? Yeah, I would say. Yeah, I have actually. I've done a good amount of work on Storm Collectibles. They repair well, is what I can say about Storm Collectibles. They repair very well. So whenever I do get one in, I'm usually not nervous about repairing it. I say that because they can be really intricate. They have very tricky engineering, so anything can always go wrong in a situation, in a repair. But for the most part, I have had very good luck with Storm Collectibles, but I have repaired quite a bit, especially the old Mortal Kombat ones. So Boo Cat says, too bad Playmates doesn't go the same route Mattel did with Origins, bringing back the old molds, but with updated articulation. Dude, no kidding, man. Those Playmates turtles are done. Like, I just saw that they're reusing those freaking Playmates turtle molds to do like video game turtles, and I love video game turtles, but those look like doo-doo. They're old. They were cool when they dropped, but I'm so tired of those. I won't buy them anymore. I buy everything Donatello, and I will not buy that Cobra Kai set because it's lazy and they don't look good. The figures don't look good. I hope somebody out there likes them and they're getting cheap turtles for it, so I'm all for that. But I just think they're garbage, man. I don't like them, man. It's just unfortunate. It's really unfortunate, though. I wish they would. Boo Cat, I agree with you 100%. Because some of the Origins figures are kind of cool. Like, if they started adding butterfly joints to those, oh my god. It'd be amazing. But yeah. Emilio, is this a Legend Spider-Man? Yes, this is. This is the Teen Spider-Man. And we're fixing him right now. And you can see I got a little hole drilled right there. So that's okay. Because he'll be fixed. So yeah, first thing I need to do right now, since I've got this put in here, is probably take a picture for the client. That wouldn't hurt, huh? Let's do that. Let's put this next to here. Take a quick photo for the client. Photo, not video. Snap. Oh, this is a pretty good one. He's looking at the drill like, this is not right. All right. There's your size comparison. Hole drilled. And let's go ahead and get ourselves we want a plastic bag, which the client actually provided, because these guys kind of came in pieces. The Mafex Spider-Man here kind of came in pieces, and then we've got this guy. So we need to shorten this just a little bit. It's hanging out just a little too far, and we don't want that, because if this screw hangs out too far, then it's gonna be we're gonna have a loose joint. Yo, my man Cheddar's in the house. JC Cortez, one of my oldest internet friends, and a true friend at that. I say internet friends because we never met in person, but I love that guy. JC, thanks, man. It's so freaking cool. Look at that. He says, you're my role model for being a great person. Me and JC, we talk a lot. We used to talk way, way, way back in the day. And still haven't lost touch. No, we don't talk as much anymore because people get old like me. I get grown. I get old. Yeah, dude. There's my man Josh. Rocker Josh, I need to talk to you about something really interesting. I got a secret project that I want to work on, and I'm going to need your help. If I'm not going to need your help, I'm going to ask for your help. If you could help with it, it would be super cool, just because you are who you are. Just real quick, for old time's sake, since Rocker Josh is in the house, you guys have to... It's like this is like the second thing that comes up on my search history in YouTube, like every single time. The only problem that I have with this is that generally I have to wait 15 seconds because of a stinking ad. So I have to kind of like talk like this. I've never even liked this video. I should save it in my save files. All right. So once again, anytime that Rocker Josh shows up, he gets his special intro, which is Bill and Ted.
Excellent.
Love it. That's for Rocker Josh. But yeah, I want to talk to you about something that could be pretty cool. A little short neat little collab that I'm thinking about working on for future projects. But yeah, thanks for showing up. Appreciate you. Have I had to class? Gosh, Emilio asked, have you ever had to repair plastic G.I. Joe elbows? I don't know if you meant plastic or classic. If it's classic, no. If it's plastic G.I. Joe elbows, also no. I don't think I've had to do that. I don't think I've had to repair any G.I. Joe elbows. I'm assuming you mean those old ones like this guy, like my favorite guy here. This is my favorite G.I. Joe. This is Topside. He's the best. I'd be willing to bet, though, that if it was any of these broken, that's going to be... Oh, I don't know. There might be a way to get those cast. I'm not sure. That's a real hard plastic. Real hard plastic. I'm going to sand this down a little bit. I like to make sure that once you freaking get this thing cut, a lot of times what you want to do is you want to sand down the end of the screw a little bit so it gets a little more flat. You do have to be careful, though. You want to test this before you put any glue on it, because what you have to do is you have to test this thing out. Make sure you can freaking see my hands, dude. There we go. Let's go over this way a little more. Let's see. Sorry, guys. There we go. That'll work. But yeah, so anyways, like I was saying, you could sand this down so it's flat so it won't, cut in. Because once you cut this thing, you can leave little jagged tails on it and stuff like that. So what you want to do is cut it flat and once again, test it. See if it'll actually screw in. It is. It's screwing in like a beauty. A lot of times too, what you like to do here, before you add any glue, is you can set up your the side of the let's see if I can't drop my we'll drop my screwdriver first. Let's see where we at. Where was that? Is that all the way over here? Good Lord. So that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm testing kind of the side here. Oh my gosh, my fingernails are a wreck, guys. I apologize. Gosh, how do I even show this? There you go. So what I'm doing is basically setting up on the side there to see just how close it is. And obviously I did this beforehand, but yeah. You just want to kind of, when you're putting that screw in, you want it to be as close to it as possible, and maybe even slightly shorter. So when it does, when you go to put the arm on, it is going to fit nice and snug. Because a lot of times the peg piece that actually goes into the arm isn't as thick as the original one, just because you're using a screw. Sometimes you get lucky. So cool. Michael, your wife asked to see my hand. Dude, my hands are rough, bro. They're so bad right now. I ripped I don't even want to gross anybody out. I ripped a lot of my fingernail off this weekend helping my friend Bob move his stuff. I didn't tell him while I was there, but it it took so much off. It hurt so bad. It was like that's a bad thing. So anyway, so that thing still hurts all the way around. And then I had to cut a lot of chicken and stuff like that. So I was super nervous. I was like, oh God, this is how I lose my hand. This is evil. This is gonna be a new Evil Dead. The Attack of the Salmonella. Probably could have put some gloves on, but I did wash my hands. I was very sanitary. So thank you. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and add some glue here to the screw. And we'll take a little crafty photo of that real quick too for the client. Nice little dab on there. Little dab will do you. JB Super Weld. And then we're going to go ahead, since we've already tested this out, we're going to go ahead. We're going to hold it steady with our thumb there. Screw this in until it fits to where we want it. That looks really, really good. That's where I want it. And so I'm going to leave it here. Take a fun photo of Spidey just like looking at his little spider nub while we wait for that to dry. We're going to move on to the Mafex comic cell shaded Spider-Man. I fixed a few of these as well. You know what's interesting is that this Spider-Man tends to break more at the knee, and I don't know why, because this is the exact same plastics from what I can tell. This is the same plastic. And I'll zoom in a little more, see if I can't get you guys a little closer shot here. That's not that close. Look at that. No. There we go. Okay. That should work. So I'll try to work in this area. I tend to, you guys know this. I kind of work and I'm like, ooh. JC, how far back do we go, bro? God dang. My wife knows JC. So if my wife knows him, that's how she, like, if I bring somebody up and I'm like, oh, it's this person, she's like, do I know them? But JC, she knows JC. His name's JC, but we call him JC because it was a fun joke. So, but yeah, you're right, Josh. This poor Spider-Man, that's all he does is like lift. You know, you do got to lift with your knees. You got to lift with your knees, not with your back. This is a rule. This is safety rules at work. But old Spidey here just gave out on him. You know what I mean? And I think what I want to do with this one is shoot a tutorial for it. So I'm going to have to put on my tutorial voice, guys. Okay. I don't know if y'all heard that, but oh my God, my neck just sounded like it broke. You ever do that? You like crack your neck and you're like, did that just break? Did I just break my neck? 2012, that sounds about right. Yeah, they said like the world's gonna end, and it turned out me and JC just became friends. So it was just another cataclysmic event of better proportions. It was the exact opposite of the world ending. It was a new world being created, and me and JC became friends. So Chris, she definitely does not think you're annoying. That the guy that built you the toy candy slab? Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, that's him. I'm sucking these sodas down. I'm about to be done with them. Christine went to see a nutritionist. She was getting us all healthy. And haven't had sugar for a while. So, you know. Had my wife and dog come down to check out your live stream. She laughed and said we say similar things. It's hard to find another Mahoney who doesn't drink. Spider-Man repair looks fun. My man. That's cool. That's awesome. Hell yeah. I love that. Okay. So, I'm going to fire up the old iPhone to get some footage of this. Dude, I need a new... I need a new freaking phone holder. Do you hear this thing? Listen to it. It sounds like an old boat. Why does it sound like that? Why is it so nasty? I don't know why it sounds so bad. Oh my God, if I hit, it's like really bad. It sounds like it's just about to die on me. All right, let me get rid of this. Oh, you guys, for those of y'all that were here last time for the customizing, I did end up, check this out. I wish I'd have been able to do this, but this took me hours. I was able to reverse engineer the legs from the Wolf Predator, McFarlane Wolf Predator. So I took these legs here and I cut these pieces here and I flipped them. So I took out the joints like so that were down in here. So I popped those out, did a ton of dremeling and cutting, and I've reversed engineered these, pardon me, with some soda, to where they will fit on double knee joints like this. Let's see, I think this is the correct one that goes here. Wait, no, the big piece. Yep, that's right. So these are here, go there. I don't know if I've tested this one completely out yet. This one actually might need a couple more Dremel sessions, but oh, it's looking good. But look at that. So now we've got, there's no peg in there right now, but you can see all the way through. You can see the color change there. So there's a peg hole all the way through. So I can show you on that one too. Get the lighting right. It's there. Just can't really seem to get it right. All right, anyways. But look at that. Boom. So that was actually a lot of work, and those are done. So that is going to be a fun one. But anyways, I want to get him out of the way. So whenever I do this tutorial, man, this makes me nervous. I need a little box to put him in by himself. Found one. All the Predator stuff in here. We'll just kind of carefully move this entire thing in here. It's out of the way. So we can make our background look semi-professional, I guess. Alright. Cleaned up a little bit. Only y'all know the truth, you know? Let's do this too. So I think I need a new chair too. It's like, I feel like my chair's always been like that. Alright. Let's give this a little sweet maru. And then we'll be ready to go. I like to use my little handy dandy wicker brush. Little broomy. Straight into the garbage can. Clean up that area real nice. Looks pretty. All right. It's good enough. Okay. Bang. Sticker for fun. Logo purposes. Branding purposes. Legs. We'll throw these other Spider-Man over here just because it's fun to have that many Spider-Man in the picture. The Spider-Man can't believe it. Just set him up. The humanity. Oh, you guys can't even see that. I don't think I can see it on this foot. What am I doing? Okay, let's get serious. All right. So, time to turn on. Oh, sorry guys. I'm kind of missing some of the chat here. What is my favorite soda? I really like Canada Dry. I also like Sprite Zero. Blue Knee High was like my favorite. Blue Knee High is amazing. I think Big Red Company bought it and they call it Big Blue now. It was like a cream soda. That's all it is. But without like the root beer flavor. It's just like regular cream soda. It's amazing. Love it. Any thoughts on the new Disney Predator Prey movie synopsis and poster? I'm not sure yet. We'll have to see what's going on with that. You know what I mean? Like, we'll just have to see what's going on. Hopefully it's awesome. That's all I can say. Hopefully it's awesome. I just look forward to fun stuff, and hopefully that's what we get. You know what I mean? All right, let's get this going here. Let's make sure it's on the right setting. All right, here it comes, guys. Get my screws out. I think that's all I'm gonna need. Let me make sure I got everything ready. So what you're gonna need here, I don't want to tell you guys because then I'm just about to say it again. I don't want to have to do that to you. So you got a Dremel here with a sanding bit. We need glue. We need clippers. And that'll be it. That's what we need right there. Bam. All right, here we go. All right. And a 3, and a 2, and a... Hey, what's going on, Toycanic fans? It's Bill Maru here. Today I have a pretty common break and a tutorial I'd like to teach you, and this is for the Mafex cel-shaded comic Spider-Man. This also works for the regular comic Spider-Man. I've actually done this repair on my personal Peter B. Mafex Spider-Man here. You can see this knee right here. This one's a little more sloppy just because this is my personal repair. But as you know, these have removable legs, so you can actually kind of get a look and see. This one's a little, like I said, a little messier just because I actually made this myself. I actually made this joint myself. Today we actually get to use the factory joint. But I'm sure you guys have seen this happen a few times, and it happens often. I've done this repair so many times, and you know, I've had a few people actually ask me, hey, when are you going to do a tutorial on that? When are you going to do a tutorial on that? And today's the day. So I am going to show you what to do. First thing we want to do is we have removed this peg from the upper knee, basically. Just a little heat in here. It's a standard hole. These are not supposed to twist. A lot of times that's what happens. That's how these break, but I'm not sure if it's just weak plastic or how these break, but they break a lot. So we pop this guy out, right? With a little bit of heat. Next, what I want to do is, you can see right here, this peg should actually be able to twist, and it doesn't. It doesn't twist at all. So there's another issue. So either this is too tight, or there's some adhesive issues, or something's going on in the middle of the process here that these things just don't seem to work correctly. What's funny is that this is such a dark blue compared to this light blue. I think that's interesting that they didn't use a lighter blue color. But anyways, what we're going to do is we're going to take a 0.9 millimeter drill bit, because the first thing we need to do is we're going to drill a hole directly through the center here. We might be able to use this peg. Generally, I can't use the factory pegs because they generally get chewed up trying to get them out of here. If this knocks this free, then yeah, maybe I can use it. If not, then I just need a blue piece of plastic that I can use that we're going to just basically mold into a peg that will fit on here. So let's go ahead and start dremeling this. You can see we got a hole drilled right through the center here, which works really well. If this were going to be used in the actual repair. So that, like I said, this is a 0.9 millimeter. We're going to go back in the other side, through the other side with the same drill. Just kind of go in and out a little bit just to give it a little extra dremeling. And what we can do here is I've got these screws here, and they say 17 by 9 millimeter. These are, I believe, 1.5 millimeter, I thought, thick. They could be very well 9 millimeter long. But so I'm not sure if this will even show up, but this is where you can get these on Amazon. So maybe 17 by 9 millimeters is what you're looking for. But you can definitely tell once they come in if they're the right size or not. These help so much. These are stronger. These are a little bit stronger than the ones I usually use. I also use some much larger ones, but these guys right here just know how to. They know how to fix. They know how to fix a figure. There's just a lot more to them. So I'm sitting here. I'm screwing this in, and I want to see if, while I'm screwing this in, if the peg starts to turn a little bit, and it is. We have broken it free, which is awesome. That's a good thing. But what we also want is we need to get this thing out, because right now I can't get this screw any further in, because now the peg's actually working the way it's supposed to. So that kind of runs us into an issue here. So what I want to do is, generally what I'll do is I'll take a flathead screwdriver, and I'll try to work around the edges to try to pop this thing out, because basically what has happened here is it gets pushed in. This size right here is smaller, this side right here is larger, and so when it pops in, that's how it stays. Basically like a mushroom head, essentially, is it pops in so it can't pop back out whenever you're bending it. So a lot of times what I like to try to do is, if I can, And you got to be really careful in doing something like this. If you were to just press down like this, like so, you could actually end up snapping this, because you can see that this isn't flat. It's not a flat piece. There's a basically a halfway mark here where you lose half of your mass, and there's a hinge essentially here. And if you were to go flat, it would snap that thing in half. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll get like a piece of I usually lay it flat, but you can do it on just about anything that works. How about this? How about a one of these McFarlane stands? I wonder if that's enough. I wonder if that gives us enough thickness. It might not. It's kind of working on the fly here. Oh, it might. So what that does is just levels it out and gives us the chance to kind of hammer down on this thing without it, breaking this piece. And I don't think that's gonna. I don't know if that's gonna work or not. It could. Let's see. You kind of want to get it off to the center, off the side just a little bit, to see if that'll pop in or pop out. And that's gonna be a little rough. I don't want to do that again, just in case it pops off. Yeah. So a lot of times what you want to do is you could try to go back through the other side, which is why we put those holes in there. See if we can do this. Takes a little bit of pressure to get this back in. And I imagine it's just going to do the exact same thing that happened to us a minute ago. Yeah, it's just going to start bending. So like I said, I don't know if I've ever actually successfully been able to use the factory piece in doing this. So what we're going to have to do is basically just we can either try to screw this thing out, or we can use our drill bit to try to drill around. What I'm going to try to do here is, if I can't, like, slowly push in with my flathead and hopefully not stab my hand, which is not the safest way to do this, is try to get this thing to pop out. Usually you would think that it would just be able to pop out this way, seeing that this is what's been holding it in there, but it's not playing ball with us right now. So let's see what we can do here. See if we can get a little bit of... If you can get any kind of grip on it, it might work. See if we can go in with the needle nose pliers here. I don't think they're going to be strong enough to get that out. So yeah. Well, I was really hoping that I could maybe use the factory, but I can't. So we'll just drill it out like usual, and we'll just make our own peg. So yeah, so what we'll do is see if we can't get this in here. It'd be nice if we had just a little bit of something to grip onto. If we had something like just small enough to grip onto right here, while we're doing this, like if I was able to go in and grip any of this plastic, which I think I might be able to, then I can grip that, hold it while I screw this in, and basically what you're doing is you're trying to keep that piece tight while you bring this in. I don't think I'm even gripping that. I think I was gripping this the whole time, which is about right. So yeah, if we could just get this piece to go in a little bit more, then that's all we really need. And this would actually be a much easier fix. As you can pick up on the frustration in my voice that it's just not doing it. It's almost like if I were just to talk it through, that it would do it, and it's not going to do it. So it sucks because getting the bendable, or excuse me, the right friction inside of this is pretty difficult. So that's what it's like right there, to like try to shoot the tutorial. You're just like, why won't it just do that? Why won't it do what I want it to do? And it'd be like a lot faster. Also, when it comes down to it, had that have worked, it's like, well, that doesn't work for everybody, so it's not the easiest way to fix it. What happens if the thing won't go in, Bill? Well, I guess that sucks for you. That's what it feels like sometimes. I'm like, oh, you can't be like that. You gotta teach people how to do it the proper way. I don't know if I can clip this. God, I wish I would just go in. Just go in. I don't know if I could hold this tight here. No. It's like getting the perfect friction back on these things. It's not that hard. It's getting the size of the peg. Sometimes it can be a problem. Sometimes it doesn't have to be. I don't know. It's just you don't want it to be too long, or you don't want it to be too short. Too short's generally the more rare of the outcomes, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Jeez. Got a little something going on out there. Sounds like our dogs are freaking out. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Just tap it in. Just tap this in. I'm trying to see if I can't add some pressure somewhere to where it'll actually... Because all I need is for that to be a little tighter. Oh, man. I wish I would just pop in there, dang it. Okay. All right, so since we do have a screw in there, what we can do is get a grip here probably, and see if we can't just bend this to the side, slowly pull the peg out. You can see it's just kind of, there we go. There's our peg. We got our peg out. I think everything looks fine. Yeah. So what I did was screw that in and get a grip on the peg and then pull it out. This might actually still work. Seems a bit risky, honestly. But we can see, because all you really need, all I'm gonna do is take a piece of plastic and whittle it down into a hunk of plastic. This is literally it. We know that this fit a minute ago, but also, as you can tell, when I just screwed that in, it completely destroyed it, so we don't want that anymore. Maybe that was the problem. Maybe we needed to drill a little bigger hole. Maybe that would have worked. Another thing, though, now that I think about it, it's best that that didn't work, because if you were to... Now that I think about it, now that this has never worked before, the reasoning why is because if you were to try to just screw that in there, you would actually have to put glue here because the peg would still be inside. And then once you screwed this in, you really risk locking this there. So you're going to have to remove that peg. Unless you just, I guess, get really lucky with your super glue. Who knows? Now, I am pretty lucky in the fact that I have a bunch of spare joints that I've collected for the past, more than the past decade. So I just find a piece of blue plastic. Luckily, I have PVC plastic, so if you've got any kind of like hard plastic that's lying around, this is what you want to use it for, is something like this. You just want to find any kind of blue plastic. I personally go for blue plastic just because I think that looks better. You might not even see it generally. So if you only have bright pink, then that's probably going to work too. Seeing that all it is the peg that really goes in here. And let's double check my... Yeah, look. So technically you could use any color. When it bends, you're not going to see it. So you can literally use any color you want. So scratch that. You can use any color you want. It doesn't have to be blue. I just happen to have blue. And for me, I guess that's kind of an OCD thing where I'm like, oh, at least I know the color's similar. I don't know. It literally does not matter at all. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take these end clippers. This is if you happen to have one of these. Also, if you ever want to like break apart a PVC plastic import joint, you can take end clippers and lightly clip like so. I would say I've had 98% success rate doing that without doing any damage to them. As long as you're really careful, you find the perfect seam, like you find that seam right where they bend on, and you just slowly pop them in, boom. Splits them every time almost perfectly. So next what we want to do is we want to take our piece of plastic, whatever plastic you have. Luckily for me, this is already rounded. We're going to have to Dremel this either way, but let's just say you have a big hunk of plastic. You're going to need to make it, you know, cylindrical like this to make a peg. And then you're also going to need to drill a hole in it. So that's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to hold this with my pliers. I'm going to drill a hole straight down the middle. You don't want to stay in there too long, or it can warp the plastic. It can melt and you can end up on the outside of it, which you don't want to do. So you want to back out. So let's go in again. Careful not to break your drill bit. Trying to heat this up just a little bit in there. Trying to make the hole slightly bigger, because right now, if we were to do this, and this is why we ran into this issue with the peg here, we didn't drill a big enough hole, and you can see it split right here. So that's what we don't want going into here. We do not want this to split. And I think we got a pretty good hole going right now. It's directly in the center. So let's go ahead and try it again. Kind of give it slight wiggle there just to give it a little more room to kind of chew around that plastic. Real careful. Like you're feeding a baby bird. You want to be real careful. So let's see if we can't get this screw in here. Sometimes it might take a few attempts. This is PVC plastic, so it's pretty tough. And that's the reason that's not going in there very well, is because that hole isn't quite big enough, but it is a nice snug fit. So, and you can see it kind of stressing from the screw itself, but that's totally fine. This is what we want. And so what I'm going to do is now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clip the end off of here. So once you have the shape you're happy with, clip that. We're going to go ahead and start dremeling away here. We're going to take a sanding bit and we're going to start dremeling away at this so it gets smaller, because we need it to be this size here. We need it to go into this peg hole, and you can tell that's way too big. So I'm going to hold on to the screw, which this gives us a really nice convenient hold or handle, and then we're going to just Dremel around. Simple enough, right? What can I do to dye an action figure? Dude, I don't know, man. I wish I could tell you. I really wish I could tell you an answer on that, bro. I don't know. I've tried dyeing them with RIT dye before, but I just either it's the figure or the process. I even tried boiling the figure in a hot water. I could not get it to work. I have not had any success with that. I do know people have had success with it. So you maybe do a call out on Instagram and be like, hey guys, does anybody know anybody that's successfully dyed a figure? So what you want to do is hold onto this thing tightly. I'm going to go ahead and start dremeling. And just keep going around and around. Just like so. Just like this. And I do this because it keeps it even. You got it. It needs to be nice and round. All right, that's pretty decent, I'd say. Let's see if we can't, because we don't want. So here's the trick. We don't want this to just kind of pop into here. If it popped in and slid all the way through, that's a problem, because what we don't want is for it to just pop right out. So right now, I'm feeling like this is a pretty good start. So I'm going to go ahead and cut some of this down. As you could see before, the length was probably about 1/10 of an inch, maybe an 1/8. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, about an 1/8. So the length of this original peg was about 1/8 of an inch, which is going to probably put us. So if we were to start here at this blue tip here near the silver, it would go about maybe in the center. So if it's a little too long, that's okay, because then we can always shave some off. So let's go ahead and do that. And now what we're going to do, since we've got some of that shaved off, is we want to go ahead and unscrew this. Take this out, because we don't want to, like, while we're dremeling, we don't want to accidentally dremel too far and then cut the screw that's in there. So let's go ahead and get it flat. All right. And then on this other end here, this is going to be our end that we use to insert outward. We want to kind of round it off just a little bit. Just a little bit. Oh, man, I got lucky there. That one took off on me. Oh. Oh, no. What happened there? Oh, wait. I went to... I thought that... Oh, man, Boart. I'm so sorry. Thank you for the chat. For the donation, man. I really wish, you know what, I'll put a call. You can tell you what, I'll put a call out for that. Hit me up on Instagram on there and be like, hey man, I asked you how to dye a figure, so I'll put out a call out and we'll try to figure that out for you, okay? Because I'd actually really like to know that too. I have tried before, and like I said, it wasn't real successful. It just wasn't real successful. So dude, it's funny. Oh my gosh, Josh, it's funny you said that. The Ravager Thor figure that just dropped the other day. Yeah, check this out, man. I actually did this. Of course I did this. Although I broke the neck on my Toycanic figure, I need a new one. Check it out. Am I right or am I right? Oh man, hang on. I'll just go ahead. Sure wish that would just focus by itself. That'd be great. Don't need that zoom in all the time. But anyways, yeah, I have seen that figure. And I did pop it on. I was like, damn, that hair looks awesome on there. And this stand sucks. I remember I had a hell with this thing the other day. It would not stay up. Get out of here. I even tried tightening the screws on it. It was pretty cool. I got a... Oh, here we go. Why not just use this one? Always in focus. Looks very tan. He's not. But, yeah, I used the hands from the new Doctor Strange. It's kind of cool. You can just kind of clip them in a old Mezco figure here. I stole his cape. Stole it. Back in the lab with you. Get in there. Get in there. Okay, sorry. Let's get back to this. I touched something on the stream a minute ago, and it like looked like it glitched out. All right. So since we have this ready to go here. We're going to go ahead and insert our screw once again. Let's go ahead and you should be able to do it with your fingers, at least get it started with your fingers. And then you want to go ahead and grab some pliers. Let's hang on to this. So usually it's easier if you go from the side like so. Just grip them like that. So that looks good. We're all the way in there. I'm positive that I think this looks a little too long, but that's okay. Like I said, I'd rather have this thing, sorry about that. I'd rather have this thing longer than too short. If it's too short, we literally would have to add on to it. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to back it up most of the way. I'm going to grab my JB Super Weld, which feels like it's super welded itself shut. Oh, I need to get rid of all this nasty on the top here. Gross. Yeah, man, this bottle has really lasted. So I want to put it on my threading right here, just enough to coat it, and then we'll hold on to that and we'll put that all the way through like so. We don't really need a whole lot to go through right here. That's way more than we need, but we can actually cut that and make it shorter, so that'll help. I might actually back up the tracks just a little bit, so it gives us more room to cut right here, because we will have to cut this thing in a second. But right now we're going to keep this handle on, and while that glue dries, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next step. And the next step includes this leg. So what we're going to do with this leg now, let's go and sling our freaking glue everywhere. Let's go ahead, I'm going to leave that here. Yeah, that glue's still sticky. So we're going to go ahead and take our drill bit. Let's get some of this plastic off of there from before. And we're going to go ahead and drill a hole here. It does not matter if you go all the way through. Chances are you're going to. And in fact, it might be better if you do go all the way through, because then you're going to ensure that the peg has completely made contact. You can drill it a little bit. And as you can see here, let's see, this is the outside of that. You will not see it. You will not see a peg hole through here, inside or outside. So let's go ahead and do a drill hole through here. Try to keep it directly in the center of where it broke originally, which was obviously right here. You cannot miss that. Usually I would drill a hole through here as well. I'm not going to go through this side, because basically it's just going to be the little tip here is going to come through, and we're going to just sand that down from the outside very carefully, by the way. Technically we could flatten it, so if we want, we can just kind of start screwing this in here. So I always like to, before I flatten the end of a screw, if it does have a tip on it like so, I do like to go in with the tip attached still, to make sure that that's going to give us a good starting threading. Basically, it's going to thread that plastic for us. Just going to take a little bit of pressure. There we go. And once it takes hold, once it connects, then we start working like that. So you can see where the peg is starting to kind of come through a little bit there, or trying to. Yeah, that's a nice tight fit. But you can also see that that peg is way too long. It's just going to be way too long. And that's okay. Like I said, right now that's okay. We're going to see what we can do is we can actually measure this now that this has been inserted. And this peg is about twice the length it needs to be. So we'll back this up a bit, and we will sand this down right here. Since we already added glue, And we could have measured all of that before we permanently attached this to the screw, which is something I usually do. But let's say you didn't. All right. And what that will allow us to do as well is we'll take our clippers here, and we're going to clip off a good amount of this screw so we don't have a whole lot sticking out. So we're going to go ahead and flatten it anyways. And once we did, we went ahead and got that piece in earlier, which was nice. Like I said, we threaded it first. Grab yourself a bag and go ahead and clip. Sometimes it won't clip all the way, so you kind of got to wiggle it a little. There we go. And let's see how that's going to work. A lot of this is trial and error when it comes down to it. Let's go ahead and sand some of this down a little more. I still think it's a little too thick. Get rid of that little key. All right. Now let's see if this will... Another thing you can do is if you want to get a little bit closer, you can kind of go in with the razor blade like so. Kind of give it a few cuts. Like I said, the issue that we've run into on this one is that you know, we super glued prior, and generally that is not how I like to work. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to leave that in, just because I think it's a good learning experience. When it comes down to it, it is. You know, because a lot of times what happens in these repairs is you can get so far in, you can make a mistake, and that's okay. Just so you know, it's okay. So don't get frustrated. Learn from it. And if you did that and you do it again, you know what to do. So we can go ahead, take our screw, and as you can see, it's fitting right where we want it to. It's gone back, and it's not plugging out the side, so that means we don't have to sand this now, which is really, really cool. Let's see how this looks. That's looking a lot better, and we can always sand this down once this goes on. So I like this. This is where I want this to be. So what we're going to do now is we need to straighten this out just a little bit so we can get a good clip on there, I think, or we might be able to clip it with some end clippers as is. Yeah, see, this is the problem you run into is you can't really clip it, but what you can do, instead of straightening it out, because I'd rather not grip that plastic, what we can do is go ahead and get as close as we can without hitting that plastic, because we don't want to push that down any. We're going to go ahead and clip. Okay, so we got a good clip in there. See, we kind of flatten this out, give it a little twist. And a lot of times what you can do is you can go back in with like end clippers too, and you can kind of clip some of that around as well. Let's see if we can do that. I don't know. These are a little tight, so yeah, it's a little tighter than I'd want it to be, but that's okay. So that clips a little bit of that out too, so that's a little less work that we have to do now. Before we do attach this, what you could do is take your end clippers. You can grip your the screw that's going to be inserted permanently. Get a nice solid grip on here, and then get your sanding bit, and let's get rid of this hook. So another fun fact right here, where we have this clipped, we can actually test before we put it back in. That we know that this is where it's going to stop because that's where the plastic stops, right? So we know this right here, this is what we're looking at for our final product. So what we need to do is drop this down just a little more. Not a whole lot, just a little more. We're going to round it out. Get rid of that screw head. Don't want anything sharp. Want to be able to cut your hand on it. Like I said, round it out a little bit. And this doesn't have to be the prettiest thing because you're not going to see it once it goes back on. Another thing you can do, since this will have to bend and one side's a little stronger than the other side, you can kind of lower your speed here. Just kind of go to a low Dremel speed. Try to get this as even as possible. Get a nice little clip in here and just kind of slowly make like kind of like a more shallow bit of peg around it. You really got to get good grip because that could have been hours of work gone right there. So yeah, get a nice little grip. And what we're doing right now is we're just basically making this a little more shallow so whenever this plugs in, it gives it something to spin on, and it gives the top part a little more thickness so it can't just pop out. You know what I'm saying? Like we talked about earlier, like a mushroom. That's where we're chewing away at some of that plastic right there. If you don't have calluses like on your fingers like me, I would strongly suggest using the clippers for this kind of. This is a pretty advanced repair, straight up. Okay, so now that we've got all that done, we're gonna reinsert this. God, that went on forever, guys. Sorry, it's like so. There's so much to this repair. There's a lot to this repair. So now we're gonna take this. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, so now we've got our piece ready to go. We're going to grab our super weld. And so this part can get a little bit tricky. I'm going to go ahead and grip it carefully, lightly almost, with my needle nose pliers. I'm going to add a little super glue here to this little, to our threading. And carefully, let's put it right down in the hole we made. You see how this can kind of just go haywire? See if you can't grip it with your fingertips and give it a little twist. This is usually like why I do it with the screw still on, like the top. The hook part, the handle part. Okay, that's okay. Don't freak out. A lot of times what you want to do, you have to be super careful, especially once the glue starts sticking to your fingers. Center it up. The problem with this right here is you kind of do have to move a little swiftly just because right now that glue is drying and it's getting into those threads, right? Okay, that was actually a little too much glue. I'm just gonna kind of wipe some of that off just a little bit. So we have cutting boards. We can get a good grip on it. This is part of the fun that comes with toy repair. If that's what you want to call it. I'm gonna get some of that glue I dropped right there. If I could just get these, I probably need to get some kind of specialized tips, you know, that hold these on. As I talked about hurrying up and like it's like just sitting there just drying on me. Okay. Come on. We know that this fits in here. It's just the problem we ran into now is we have nothing, literally nothing to hold on to. And this is such a hard thing to grip. So if this happens, this happens. You just kind of got to work a little faster. And if, let's just say all went to hell and you just couldn't get this in here, all you'd have to do is find another piece of plastic and redo this process, which doesn't that sound fun? Yeah, I can't get a good grip on it. Once you get a good grip, if you can get a good grip this like in this millennia, you're almost done. Once this is edited, it's gonna look like I'm a fucking pro. But until then, gosh dang. Yeah. Sometimes it's better to leave that freaking piece out. I should have left the hook out, but a lot of times what I don't like to do whenever I'm doing one of these is leaving that big hook out. Man, I might need to redo that. Shit. Man, I hate these freaking needle nose pliers. I think I've lost all my threading. And if I lost all my threading, that means I've lost everything in it. Wait. I think the glue's still wet, so there's still a shot here. Or sometimes you can actually hold it with your finger like so. Hold it tight and just try to crank it if you can. Probably not though. It wants just to make a liar out of me, so. I think this is the only time I've ever had this much of an issue with this repair. And it would only be because I'm trying to do a tutorial over it. Son of a gun. I've had people be like, can you do it for cheaper? Can you do the job for cheaper? All right. So, fun fact, if your glue does dry in your threading, you don't necessarily have to redo all your work. If you know it's getting a little too crazy, then you can actually take like I said, a razor blade. Be very, very careful while doing this. You can kind of go through there and chip some of this away. Sometimes this will work for you. More than not, it will. But yeah, generally what I like to do is keep that hook on the end. But once again, kind of rush through it to see exactly what would happen if you run into an issue. And sometimes I think the tutorials that aren't out there are the ones that tell you how to fix something when you're trying to fix something, if you know what I mean. Or it's just a really good excuse that you like screwed up and it's like, well, you know what? Instead of giving up, here's a new tutorial. Sometimes a tutorial kind of writes itself, you know what I mean? Oh, did the stream stop? That'd be amazing. Julian says the stream just stopped. I can see the chat going, so that's always good. But message retracted. Thanks, Julian. Appreciate you. Thanks for always looking out. Yeah. I think that we just might redo it. I don't know if I can. We know that there's enough in here to do it, but I just can't get it to hook because I think some of the super glue might have I might have filled in the pieces there, which that sucks. That's a lot of work that can just be undone due to a careless mistake, which is what I did. It happens. The figure's not ruined. The repair is still ready to rock and roll. We just have to use a new screw and probably a new piece of plastic. Although I don't want to give up on this just because I did put so much work into it. Although it's one of those things where it's like, you could probably go ahead and start on another one, and by the time this one's done, you could have been finished. The problem I have though is like I feel like I need like smaller needle nose pliers because I can't really get a good, yeah, I can't get a good grip. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's do it again. All right, so the first step you want to do is you want to take a piece of plastic that is the similar color, and you want to drill a hole down the center peg, like so. I'm going to drill a little good hole in here. Speed up a little bit so we can get this kind of plastic heated up a little bit. Okay. I'm going to take our screw, put it through here. Take our screw, test it out. Clip it with some pliers. We're going to screw that all the way through here. So that's awesome. That's good to go. Okay, so what we want to do is we're going to unscrew this. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to straighten the screw out. This is really important because you could actually end up messing up a piece if you cut it off too soon. And you won't be able to get a good grip on it, and it won't screw into the knee. And that actually happens a lot. Like 5 minutes ago. So let's go ahead and get a good grip here. Grab your other set of pliers. Get a grip there. And now we're going to just kind of, just haphazardly, just kind of barely straighten this guy out. All we really want is for it to have a nicer straight spot right here. We can keep this kind of hooked out like this so we still have something to grip. But this way, this is straight, so when it comes down to cutting it, it's not going to be a problem for us. Since we already drilled a hole in here, we can go ahead and cut this if we'd like. And since we know about how deep it needs to be, like so, we know exactly pretty much where to cut it. We might do it a little bit longer. That way we can cut a little bit off, but it shouldn't be a problem to go ahead. And what you can do is a lot of times you can take a razor blade, and since I'm just kind of eyeballing it here, you don't have to eyeball it, obviously, if you're a smart person and you want to make sure that it's correct. You can come in like so, cut there. Let's double check, make sure that's looking good. That is looking very good. Let's go ahead and give it a cut. Since we already got the hole in there, it's going to be an easy way to cut that in. So now we've got that cut. All right, so now we're going to take our screw and our piece of plastic. We're going to go ahead and start putting that in here. Go ahead and grip that with your pliers. And now since we have this, just like a vise basically, we can just kind of go through here like a good old tire iron. All right, that's pretty far in. We don't really need to go that far in. However, if we don't want to have to Dremel a lot of that off, we can always flatten some of that out. So let's go ahead and back up just a tad here. We're going to lace this bit with super glue. Okay. Now we're going to go back in, come back out a little bit. Okay, go back in, and that should be good. Okay, so now we've got that all laced up with super glue. Since there's a little bit on the edge here, see if I can't find myself a... There we go. Let's grab a little paper towel. Get a lot of this excess off here on the end, top part. Okay, so now what happens next is we want to test that this is going to go through correctly. And in fact, from our previous trial, I want to make sure that this is nice and flat here. There's no excess super glue, just in case, you know, you attempted it before and it didn't work because you cut this off way too early. So this is why you don't do that. It gives you a nice gripping point to go through here. And let's test this to where this will be nice and tight and snug. That's great. Can't feel that. This is actually perfect. This is the perfect distance, so that's awesome. The only problem is this is not the perfect width. We actually want this to be thinner. So we'll take our Dremel bit here, our sanding bit, and we'll go around it just a little bit like so. Just on a low speed. It's a pretty thin peg, but you don't want to go too crazy thin. Then it'll just slide right through, and that completely, you know, ruins the purpose. So let's go ahead and try to get some of this excess plastic off of here so we don't have anything hanging on or stopping our flow whenever it does get connected. We don't want anything in the way stopping that. Let's see here. Okay. So that's not going on, which that's okay. What we want is actually to go a little thinner here. Not all the way, but at least like maybe 3/4 of the way, halfway or 3/4. We want it to be thinner. From the top where it's going to go on, because what that allows it to do is to pop on and not pop off like we mentioned earlier. So, and let's take our razor blade and just kind of scrape off this excess super glue, plastic bits, all that fun stuff. Okay, let's try this again, see where this is going for us. Oh, that's feeling pretty good. It's feeling pretty good. Let's try just a little more, and we're gonna, while we have this on, we can kind of round out this edges here, just because it gives us more control while we do have this plastic bit here. I think that's gonna do exactly what we want. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take our razor blade again, get rid of any more of the excess, and next we're gonna hit this tip here with a dab of super glue, and then we're going to insert this. Get some of this off here. Get this piece right there that's bothering me. All right, cool. All right, so now let's add ourselves a dab of super glue. Make sure this little junk piece will get off of here. Oh man, hang tight. This is bothering me. I don't like any like fluff in the way there. Like I said, it doesn't have to be pretty, but oh my gosh, sometimes just those little ragged pieces right there bother me. So there we go. Okay, great. All right, let's take our super glue. Let's go ahead and put it here on the end. That was a lot, so let's take just a little bit of that away. Just a little bit, not all of it. That's good. Healthy amounts, okay. And so now we utilize our handy handle to bring this in nice and tight and snug. Okay. Make sure it's straight. That's very important that it's straight. Even while you're putting that in there, you can kind of finagle it a little bit to keep it where it is. Okay. And now we're going to wait for that glue to dry. We'll snip this, shave it, and then it'll be time to pop our peg back on. That's all it takes. Was just the... God. So dumb. So dumb. It's 8:35. Oh, we're doing all right. We're doing good. That was good. I'm glad that happened. I'm glad the mistake happened. Just to show you that I can always... we can always fix a mistake. It's okay. You don't have to freak out. I tend to ham it up a little more for the camera. I'm get all frustrated. I'm like, that's my life. You know what I mean? But when it comes down to it, I know we can get it fixed. There's no worry. There's no anxiety or stress there. I have had a few though that have kind of thrown me for a loop. But while that glue's drying, we can go back to what we originally started with, which was our Marvel Legends Spider-Man. Now the glue is dried. Arm sounds really nice. And we're going to take this arm, and next what we have to do is we have to heat it up. So you can either soak that in some hot water. You can use a hair dryer. I use a heat gun. If you're going to use a heat gun, be very careful. These take a little more practice. So they're just really fast, and that works for me. So now we're going to take that and we're going to pop it on. Pop your arm on and then give it a twist, solid twist. We're going to let that dry. It's a solid, tight fit. You can actually hear it. It's perfect. And that will stay on. Look at this. I'm going to give him a cool little thwip pose. Even with his arm all straightened out right now. But yeah, you want to wait before you start messing with that. Let that cool. You know what I mean? You don't want to... What do you call two guys who love math? Algebros. Dang, Julian. Thanks, Julian. Oh, my man Owen Herman's in here. Right on. I just did a... Hey, just wanted to thank you again for fixing my cap last week. I watched the live afterwards, and it was pretty cool to watch the process. That's awesome, dude. Thanks for tuning in, man. Yeah, that was a fun one. Yeah, and you're a cool guy, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate your patience, and I think we got that out the same day it arrived, actually. I think it was that night you were like, oh, and then I forgot. I freaking forgot to bring it to work with me to ship it out. Classic Bill. Classic Bill Maru, guys. You know what I mean? Perfect. All right. So, this is not completely dry, but it's dry enough for us to go ahead and finish off what we were doing with it. So, while I'm working on it, it should dry enough. Let's go ahead and start this. Dude, Julian's got dad jokes for days. He's not even like close to being old enough to be a dad. It's ridiculous. So I don't know. I don't know what that means anymore. I don't know how old you have to be a dad. Just in case you guys were wondering, look at this thing. Man, this thing's nice. I always suggest whenever you do bend a figure that you don't move the arm by the forearm, that you actually do grip the shoulder and bicep. That will prolong the life of your figures. So... that's just my opinion. It's up to you whether you want to take that advice or not. That's with every joint. Like, try to bend it close to where it is instead of bending your foot near the ankle. I mean, sometimes you can kind of tell if it's okay, but even so, I'd like to, if it's a tighter joint, always bend it closest to where it connects. Okay, so let's get back to the tutorial. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take our clippers and we're going to go ahead and give this a clip as close as we can This is pretty tight. See how close we can get here. Alright, pretty good. So we won't need those clippers anymore. You can take in clippers, though, and go in real tight, like so. But I don't think we're going to need to. I think we can probably sand it down. What happens here is you have to be very, very careful that you don't slip or nick something, because you could accidentally hit some of this awesome paint work and whatnot. So be very careful. We're wanting to sand this down because we don't want this big nasty peg sticking out, or this big screw. And you want to just do this little by little. You don't want to sit there and just leave your Dremel on it. If you do that, it'll heat up and it'll probably undo all the work you've done. It can undo the adhesive. It can melt the plastic. Just be very conscious and intent about where you're dremeling and what you're dremeling, and you'll be fine. I'm going to be carefully dremel this. Carefully. A little at a time. And I like to kind of go in at an angle, not exactly hit it straight. If you do it at an angle, then it starts kind of rounding it out. And that's going to make it easier for whenever it does go into this peg hole. Or I guess hinge hole. But either way, when it goes in, and if I can, I like to kind of do a sawing motion like so. It doesn't give me a whole lot of room here, but you can start here and go back. I kind of pull back so you're not going towards the paint job. Okay. And let's go ahead and see if we can't get rid of any kind of excess that's in here now. So the next step, honestly, should just be popping it on and then testing it. The biggest thing that could go wrong here is that whenever you pop the joint back on, is that it could potentially, if this right here, if this peg was too big, it could either, two things can happen. It can snap this, which these are very susceptible to snapping, which actually doesn't mean the figure's messed up or broke or that it even failed. It just, means that it could potentially break in the future. It may never break on you ever. But the other thing is that it could be so tight that whenever you bend it, it unscrews the screw. Those are kind of worst case scenarios. That would really be crappy though, just because after all the work you've done, you know what I mean? And that's why earlier, whenever we went through, we sanded it down a bit more. And so that should help with alleviating any of that extra friction. What I'm doing right now is trying to kind of get rid of any kind of excess like super glue that might have squished out or squeezed out whenever we push this in there. I did try to get rid of some, of the excess that was kind of popped out there whenever we put it on. And let's see if we can't just kind of, you want to see if you can't roll this around in here just to make sure there's no little pieces messing up or getting in the way of things. That's the last thing we want. And try to go around. This is kind of a cool screwdriver. It's like bent now because I've messed with it so much, but it turns into its own tools, and that happens all the time. My grandfather did that a lot. Things just kind of take on their own life and new purposes, which is really cool. And it's like, but the only thing that sucks is if it ever breaks, then you kind of have to make another one of these magic tools, and that always sucks. I love my magic tools. I got a few magic tools. Here's another one. It's a screwdriver, and it's got a real fine hook point right here on the end, and this baby is sharp. I have learned that it is sharp, and it has taught me many lessons. You learn to respect your tools, and they don't necessarily respect you. necessarily, don't necessarily. Let's see how many times we can say necessarily. All right, that's feeling pretty good. I think we sanded that down. Next, what we want to do is literally, you take this, and we're just gonna pop this on, and if everything we did was correct, which I want to say it was, then once this pops on, we should be in business. Now, the only thing that might happen, let's say everything works perfectly, besides it's too long, you can just shave it down while this is still on it. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take some flathead, flathead. We're going to take these needle nose pliers so we can get a nice centered grip. And we're going to just kind of squeeze down. See if we can make sure. We just want to make sure we're not going to go off center. You want to make sure that you're completely centered, like it's not. We'll make sure that we're doing this right. Okay. A lot of times I like to try to grip it from the back. Like the tip goes to the back, but I don't know how to say that. It's like almost like this is kind of in the center. So you can get this. You want to go straight down. You don't want to like bend it around. You want to just go straight down on it. And let's see if this will work for us. If not, we might need to trim it down just a little bit more. Yeah, we might need to trim it down just a little bit more. We can even, if we needed to, we can kind of trim down the peg itself because it's essentially the same. So let's try that because there could have been an issue here as well, which caused the initial breakage. And keep in mind, our peg might be just slightly bigger now than it was before due to the screw we put in it. So just in case. And I'm not going all the way in right now. I did for a little bit there. And then now I'm trying to stay about halfway through just to see if we can't Dremel in a little bit more. And see if we can't make this work to our new altered peg. So let's try that again. Because I'd rather mess with this now than trying to go back in and correct this peg, because the only way we could do that is honestly is to take it out, and that's what we don't want to do. It's already set in there right now, so. Oop, a slip there. Whoops. Okay. It's not going in as easy as I want it to, so, and I can see, maybe we can go around it just a little bit. So this is risky. The reason why it's risky is because I'm hitting this camera thing here. So let's see if we can't Dremel it around a little bit. It's what I didn't want to do, but sometimes it happens. However, whenever you do this, you can go around at kind of an angle and make it a little thinner here in the center. You can be real careful. You can see how that Dremel tried to get away from me there. And that might, sometimes that's all it takes is a little bit of extra taken off. Just work with what you're comfortable with and chip away at it. Do short, tiny sessions. Don't go a bunch at once because that's a good way to mess up all your work. Doing a little bit at a time and testing, that's the Toycanic way. And let's see here. I use the needle nose pliers because generally you can get a better center of like grip. Looks like we're almost there. Also make sure that it's in a position where it can grip completely down. it's really trying to fight me on it for some reason. Let's try to go in with these bigger ones. Maybe these will work. Looks like it pressed down a little bit. It's just giving us a little trouble here. You don't want to slip and snap this peg. That's why I'm going real slow. You just want to kind of, once it goes down a little bit, you can start kind of finding these edge points. A lot of times this thing will pop right on. Sometimes it takes a little more extra work. I'm just trying to find a nice solid spot to grip. And it could just be the fact that it's too dang tight and I'm forcing it right now. But I don't think that's the case. You want it to be slightly snug when it goes on, so I just cannot get a good grip on this thing. For some reason, this has just been giving me the most trouble. I think my neighbor's mowing his lawn too. Let's get another grip. We'll just slow and steady, guys, because we're trying to grip something that's rounded on the edge here, and that's giving us a problem. I think what could have happened, what we could have done here is we probably could have dremeled this this joint out a little more here. That might be the issue that's happening. I'm thinking if this pops on though, we're golden. I could be wrong, but I think that's all it's going to take is for this to pop back on, and all that stuff that we dremeled off. But golly, it's really giving me a fight right now. I've never had one give me this much trouble. Which that's about right. I've done this repair a ton of times, and it's the one that I do the tutorial on that's going to give me the most trouble. Kind of come around each edge here. It's just finding that center point, really. I feel like I'm trying to force this. It's on really well. It's moving. I need it to go all the way down. And it's not going all the way down for me for some reason. Man, yeah. Which doesn't make sense that it made it this far, and then all of a sudden it's not making it. You can see that the screw is not moving, that this is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing, but it's just not popping on. So maybe what might have happened was I didn't dremel enough down from the centerpiece, but I'm not sure. It's working exactly how it's supposed to, but I just want this thing to close down tighter. So we've got a solid repair going, but you can still mess something up here. Gosh, man, I'm just not getting a good grip somewhere. Maybe I need to grip it in two places. Maybe that's the problem here. A lot of times that happens with these things too. It's like you try to, gosh, these things are so hard to grip. May need 2 sets of needle nose pliers, which I bet I don't have. It'd be one of those days. Let's see if we can't grab 2 at the same time. Yeah, I can't for some reason get a grip on this piece back here. Maybe if we move it over, we can. Gosh dang. It's like it's off-centered or something, but we made sure a minute ago that this was straight, so I'm not sure what the holdup is really. The fix is, I mean, it's a good fix so far. I just want it to be a little tighter in there. Huh. It's almost like I need like tighter, golly, I'm not sure why it's being such a punk. I don't know if I can just go in. It's like, it's kind of like seesawing on me here. Oh, wait, I think I got it. Nope. Still working on it. Okay. So we've got a nice tight grip here. The next thing I'm doing right now is I'm literally just kind of mushing this down. This is like a real caveman way to do this, but usually you'll just squeeze it and it'll pop right in. You can see as it's bending, it's off kilter, and I don't know why it's off kilter. There's plenty of room here. I don't understand why. There's no point in even putting up a tutorial like this. It's just like not helpful at all. It's a solid repair, but I don't understand like why I can't get this thing to solidly fit in there. It just won't fit flush for some reason. It's in there, and it looks good, I guess. But just had to slow. I feel like it's like mooshing the plastic down that we put on there or something. I don't know. Man, it should have like popped on. I don't understand what happened. Super weird. But either way, our leg's good. See if that screw's moving with it. No, I think we're good. I think we're set. And we just gotta heat that up and pop that on that Spider-Man. That's good. That's super weird. That was just like a little harder to pop on. I guess because we had to do like the custom joint, but whatever. That's pretty crazy. I usually don't have that big of an issue, but of course we would have that tonight. It's all right. Like I said, those mistakes happen, and also you got to heat up the figure. So go ahead and heat him up. I didn't get that satisfying pop, you know? You always want that satisfying pop. Alright. Now we take our piece. So now we got that on. We're going to take our piece here after we've heated up the knee. We reheated up the knee. You always want to be careful. You don't want to like heat it up too much and bend those little flaps, little side flaps. So yeah, when you're heating up that leg, just be real careful. Don't melt those. So yeah, line this up so you don't go getting crazy with it. Hold on to it with your finger. Pop it back on to a nice satisfying pop, and now you've got your leg. Man, look how far these like bend out. It's really weird. Anyways, that's how you fix a Mafex Spider-Man knee the incredibly hard way, apparently. And that's how you throw a wrist on the ground. Well, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and look for that wrist. Take care of each other out there, and remember, the impossible takes just a little longer. Clearly. Have a good night. Good Lord. Freaking wrist fell off. It's like everything that could possibly go wrong is trying to go wrong on this guy right now. That's insane. It's like, no, you're not done with it yet. It's a good fix, though. It's just weird. I don't know. Well, I hope you learned something tonight. Good Lord. If anything, you learned patience. Good God. Hope you guys had a good time with that one. That was bananas for me. Yeah, usually I don't, like I said, I've done that repair a ton of times, but even like I said, whenever I did it on this one here, which was a bit different, I couldn't quite get it to be as tight as I wanted to until I finally did. And now it's got like this kind of weird looseness, like not a looseness, but like, I don't know. It's just weird. Anyways, guys, thank you for hanging out with me tonight. Hey, if you are still ready to like talk and jam and hang out with people tonight, Dave Wonder, his channel's gonna be popping off right now, actually at 9. So go hop over to Dave Wonder's channel, man. Look up Dave Wonder. I believe he's talking toys or toy talk or something. You can't miss it. He's the only Dave Wonder out there. He's amazing. He's live right now. He's starting right now. So hop over there and go check him out, man. He's a blast. He's on right now. He just said, yo, I thought you were live at 9, Dave. This cool. I was trying to promote Dave's deal. I guess I thought he went live at 9. He says new Thor trailer. So there's also that. So you can watch that and go discuss things. I was trying to promote Dave's channel. I mean, you should still go there and give him a sub and a like. But Dave just showed up. He's live. He's live right now. Dave Wonder. Go to his now. He's live now. Leave my live now and go to his live. His intro's playing right now. I'm going to end this stream and go over to Dave's. Guys, thank you for showing up tonight. Thanks for sticking it out with me when this ridiculousness with Spider-Man giving me troubles. And thanks, Chris Jordan. Thanks for being here. All right, guys. I'll talk to y'all later. Take care of each other. And remember, the impossible takes just a little longer.